Hello and welcome to the United Devils YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Daniel James and the recent rumours surrounding his future at Manchester United. There has been a lot of negative talk on social media about Daniel James, some people suggesting that he's not good enough for Manchester United or that his performances this season haven't been up to scratch and that maybe he should be looking to go on loan next season. But I think Solskjaer's made it clear that he does see Daniel James as an important player in the Manchester United squad and he has done a very good job this season so far. I think it is important to remember that Daniel James is still only 22 years old and has got a lot of improvements to make to his game, and he will improve with time. So I'm going to give you a little overview of Daniel James's season. He was signed from Swansea City for £15 million last summer, and he was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first signing as Manchester United manager, which I think does show the fact that Solskjaer does hold him in high regard and has high hopes for the Welshman. Daniel James has also had 37 appearances for Manchester United this season. During the time, he has achieved 4 goals and got 7 assists, and that is actually the most amount of assists any Manchester United player has achieved this season. When Daniel James was signed in the summer, I don't think Solskjaer or Daniel James himself envisaged him playing this many games. He wasn't signed to be a regular starter, but all things considered, he has done a very good job in this position. A lot of people have been critical of his ability to take on players. Some people see him as very one dimensional. I've seen someone tweet that he's a hit and run merchant, but I think that's quite unfair because I think he's following Solskjaer's instructions in games, and that is to use his pace to the maximum, to take on players, to get past them, and to make a cross behind the final line. I think Daniel James will be used much more effectively next season. I can't see him starting every game, but I do see him starting the cup games, and especially if we're in the Europa League, I think he'll start every single one of those. But in the big games in the Premier League, I think Daniel James will be used to come off the bench to replace hopefully Jadon Sancho, to get us goals in the final moments of the game, to terrify defenders with his electric pace. And I think they're the reasons we wanted to sign him in the first place. And that I think it will also give him more chance to develop as a player as well. It's been difficult for him this season having to start every game, try and be the main player in the squad, but I think next season it will let him do what he's best at and improve as a player. It will be especially useful for him to learn from his fellow players like Rashford and Sancho. And I think the competitiveness as well in terms of starting places, it will really make him fight for his place and develop his quality to challenge Jadon Sancho for a start. I do also think that there are some aspects to his game which he definitely needs to improve if he wants to make it as a long-term Manchester United player. I think first of all is his decision making. In the game just before the suspension of football against Manchester City, Daniel James was absolutely frustrating. There were 2 chances where he could have passed it to Bruno Fernandes or Anthony Martial and got an assist, but instead of putting his head up and looking for a pass or looking for the best option, he just hit a shot, a very hopeful shot, and wasted a brilliant, brilliant chance to score. And this is what we really can't afford as Manchester United. We are the biggest club in the world and we need to be challenging for titles again. When we have players that are not converting chances or passing when they should be, it's definitely just going to halt our progress in terms of progression as a club. So Jadon Sancho definitely needs to improve his decision making ability. The second thing I think he needs to improve is his clinical finishing. I think that's been an issue for a little while now, in that he has had a good few chances, but he sometimes struggles to put them away. At the start of the season, when he made his debut, and then a few games after that, he was a goal scoring machine and he just wouldn't stop scoring. But after that, he seemed a little bit shy in front of goal, or he'd shoot at the wrong times, or his shots would be nowhere near the quality required to beat Premier League goalkeepers. So he definitely also needs to improve his clinical finishing. These are things that I do think Daniel James will develop with time. I think it is important not to jump to conclusions already because he is still young. He's just signed for Manchester United. He was previously in the Championship, and the difference in quality is overwhelming. So it will take time, and I do think Daniel James will get there. One aspect of his game which I think he has done really, really well in so far is his crossing. One cross in particular comes to mind, and that was his cross to Marcus Rashford against Norwich. I mean, that was an outstanding assist, and I think if he can provide those sorts of crosses more often, he'll prove to be such an asset to the team. Overall, I think it's pretty clear that Daniel James is a great young talent who's an asset to Manchester United. I think it's been shown this season that it was too early for him to be starting most games, but I think the truth is that he is good enough to play for Manchester United, and he has got a long way to go, and he's got a lot of aspects of his game which he needs to improve. But I have no doubt that he will improve them, and that he will be a very, very important player for United, and especially next season, where I think his ability to come off the bench and make an impact and change games will be really what helps him with his development at the club. So thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do like and subscribe for more content like this.